Welcome everyone. Today in Clash Royale we are going to be trying out the brand new Void card. You can see it's now 5 elixir and the little intro video shows it being used on a bowler, and I believe, yeah, it fully counters the bowler now. It costs a little bit more elixir, but it does a decent bit more damage, and we're pretty much just going to be playing Void Cycle and seeing if we can actually just get away with only getting damage pretty much through log and Void Cycling our opponent's towers and defending with it. It's not too much different than a rocket in the sense that if you put it directly on your opponent's tower, it does a similar amount of damage if there's only one thing that it's targeting. The principle's the same as far as the more units that are in the void, the less damage it does. So we are probably just gonna... It probably wouldn't be a terrible idea to void the giant. It would probably do a good bit amount of damage to it, but we have a Tesla set up. The only problem with void, as opposed to Rocket, and the reason why I think Rocket is a decent bit of a better spell, is because, like in this case, we could Rocket both the Giant and the Mini P.E.K.K.A. as they're coming up, or the Wizard as well, and we actually might mirror our delivery. I don't even know if that's going to be enough. Not quite, but you know what? We don't lose our tower, so maybe we'll be okay. If your opponent's building up a massive push like that, like with any kind of beatdown deck, so this will be a good example because he's using Giant Beatdown, but with Golem as well, if they're kind of just building up one big push, with Rocket, you would be able to just Rocket their whole push. It would do the same massive amount of damage, no matter how many units are in the Rocket's radius, as opposed to the Void, which will do less. So it'll do a little bit worse, I think, against this kind of deck, but we do have Evo Skeletons, so as long as he doesn't have like a zap. Okay, there's no way he has like another spell like Rage, right? Okay, well, we haven't gotten any damage on the tower yet. We're almost into double, so we might throw a Void at his tower soon. I think if you hold it down, you see it does 291. I believe Rocket at level 11 does about 340, so it does about 50 less damage than Rocket, assuming they don't block it and put anything else in the Void. So we did take a lot of damage to start, and typically these kinds of decks are harder to defend against in double, but you never know. He's not really playing anything. Is he gone? Let's cycle another Void. We're already back to another one, and this guy might just be out of the game. I don't know why he gave up. He was winning, but we'll use, I guess, Berserkers and Voids to take the tower and win. But that's the only issue that I see really with Void and Rocket. Rocket tends to be a more reliable card as far as it can deal more consistent damage. It can't be blocked as easily unless they obviously have a monk or something like that. So in my opinion, Rocket Cycle is definitely much more viable. This is definitely, true to the channel. You guys know it's definitely more of a troll deck than an actual viable deck, and I'm curious as to how that would have gone had our opponent not gave up. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the past couple of weeks for me, like taking a step away from Clash Royale and YouTube and everything, just talking about in my life, it's been a little bit of a struggle the past couple of weeks. You guys may be able to tell, which is why I kind of wanted to bring this up, because it does, affect you guys in some way. But the last couple of weeks have really kind of mentally been a struggle for me. I've always kind of struggled with, like, for the past, I wouldn't say always, like when I was a teen, I definitely went through struggles, but I would say in general I was a pretty happy kid, and even into my teen years and up until I was an adult, like my high school years were not too bad. But I would say the last 4 years or so have kind of been a struggle, like on and off with, I don't even know if I would say on and off. And again, hopefully I can word this okay, but I've kind of struggled with mental health and like depression the last few years. Generally, it's been a pretty low and a pretty rough last several years. But as of recently, like when I made the YouTube channel, it was a little bit better. There was kind of something new and exciting. I was kind of looking forward to making videos and doing streams. It was kind of a little upward peak as far as my mental state went. And as of recently, I've realized it's kind of fallen like back into the gutter again for some reason. And I don't know why that is, because as far as my schedule and my routine and what's just been going on in my life, that has all been the same. Like there hasn't been any kind of... Also, let's maybe use an ability here to take care of the bowler. I haven't had like a family member pass away. I haven't had any kind of traumatic event happen recently. I haven't really had anything happen recently that would kind of cause that to go back down again. But I've realized that like my motivation is just at pretty much the lowest, at part of the lowest it's ever been. Like it was pretty low in, like there was a time when I went to college where it was pretty rough, and I couldn't even really find the motivation to kind of get out of bed or perform simple tasks or take care of myself or that sort of thing. So there was a time when it was like that, and I've kind of realized that same kind of... Also, I think Noob might be watching us. That's his favorite emote, I think. The which one? But I've realized I've just mentally been struggling. I haven't been able to... Like, I guess I'm kind of realizing that there's not really... Like, this is... I don't know. It sounds sad when I say it, but, like, there's not really much I want to do in life. Like I don't really have any goals. Like, my goal before was kind of... Like, the thing that kind of... Not distracted me, but, the last year or so, when I kind of made the YouTube channel, my goal was kind of grow the channel and see where that goes. And so that kind of gave me something to do and work towards. But as of recently, also Noob's laughing. Let's throw out a laughing emote for Noob as well. I don't know what's up with people and giving up. I don't know if, like, this seems to be happening a lot recently, where we'll play a theme deck for a video. People seem to give up a lot. I don't know why that is, because they'll usually be winning. But all right, let's throw out another laugh. What was I saying? It kind of gave me something to do for the last year or so, is kind of work on the YouTube channel, grow it. And just recently I kind of asked myself, what am I even doing this for? Like, am I doing it to meet the most amount of people possible? Not necessarily. I'm not a real extroverted person, so I'm not necessarily doing this to, get a wider group of friends. Like, am I doing this because I enjoy doing it? Yes, like, I would say that's probably the answer that most explains why I'm doing it, just because it kind of complements I kind of enjoy being at home. I kind of enjoy a flexible schedule. Streaming and making videos kind of allows you to do that. But then I kind of realized my goal was originally to kind of get to a point where I could, make enough money to just make a living doing this. And I guess I asked myself, like, what am I making a living for? Like, there's not much that I want to spend my money on, if that makes sense. Like, once I get to that point, if I do grow the channel to, let's say, 100,000 subscribers, which is probably the point where you can make enough money to do it full time, what am I going to do after that? And I realized I don't know. I don't know what kind of satisfaction I'll achieve by doing that. Like, I'll be making enough money to be able to do that full time, but I don't know. There's not going to be, like, I don't know. My brain is kind of not working, but once I get to that point, it's not like I have any dreams as far as cars that I want to own, or, okay, hold on. Like, cars that I want to own or places that I want to travel to necessarily, because, like, I have a little bit of money now that I saved up from my previous job, and it's enough money to be able to buy a decent amount of things or travel places if I wanted to. And I just don't use it because, like, I don't feel any desire to, which is like, I don't know, it just feels like recently my desire to do anything has just dissipated completely. And that includes, like, that includes every aspect of life. Like, I've had trouble not only finding motivation to do streams and videos recently, but also just to take care of myself, like to do basic things like shower and brush my teeth and that sort of thing. And so, okay, we may be cooked here. Yeah, maybe Void Cycle is not the play. I think Rocket Cycle would still be difficult against this deck, but it would probably be a little bit easier. But I guess my whole point in saying this is just to kind of let you guys know, because it does affect some of you. Like, some of you have noticed, if you're someone that I'm a little bit closer to, like people, viewers that I would consider friends, like for example, I don't know, Danny or Umayma or Fenrir, people who have sent me a message, and I've taken a while to reply. Like, any kind of motivation to respond to messages, respond to comments on YouTube, have just kind of been sapped for some reason. Like, I'm just not in a good mental state of mind, and I don't know really what I can do to fix it, because I've tried several things over the past few years. At first, I tried seeing a psychologist, and we worked through some different medications to try. I forget exactly what the names of them were, but we tried maybe 3 different kinds of medications and different doses and whatnot, and those kind of medications didn't really seem to, what are they called? I think SSRIs is the name of them. Also, that was a really goofy E-Spirit, by the way. It looked like it started to go mid. It looked like it jumped, and it had the jump animation, and then it just rewinded. But, okay, hold on one sec. Why don't we use our ability? That's probably a good idea. So I tried that first, and then after that I tried a more traditional talk therapy, but it wasn't necessarily just talk therapy. It was a certain type of, it was called EMDR, which I think uses pulses or rhythms to help you recall memories from when you were a kid, to kind of recall any past trauma or experiences that may be leading to just a certain type of talk therapy, essentially. So I was meeting with a therapist for a little bit doing that, and then after that, when neither of those really worked, this was after I moved to Arizona, but I tried another kind of little therapy that used ketamine, which is a certain type of, I think it's actually used in tranquilizer, but it's kind of a relaxing agent. It kind of gives you the feeling of being high, they inject it into you, and it gives you it was definitely a cool experience, because I've never taken drugs or been high, but I think the point of it is to, I didn't know, it's been many months since I've done it, but I think the point of it was to kind of help your brain form new synapses and new ways of thinking. And so I tried that, and again, that didn't work. And so my point is, I've tried several different things to kind of help out my mental state a little bit. Nothing has really seemed to help. And as of recently, I've just realized that I've been struggling. And again, the reason why I bring this up is because some of you have noticed that I've missed a couple of streams, a couple of days. I haven't streamed recently, and I think part of the reason why that is because I wake up and I'm just in such a fog and such a rough frame of mind that, okay, let's just make sure we can place this right, that I hardly even feel like getting out of bed, let alone streaming. And so that's just the reason why I'm telling you this, is to tell you guys that I'm trying to find a way that maybe I can work on that. Maybe finding new things that I can do, new people I can meet with that might be able to help with that somehow. But I don't know. I'm just, yeah, the last couple of weeks have just been a little bit rough, and my mental state has not been all there. So even with things that I kind of used to enjoy doing, for example, YouTube and streams, it's felt like a little bit more of a chore to do that recently. And so I guess I figured I would make you guys aware of that. I don't know, usually I felt like before I started I had more feel like before I started this video, I try to have like a little game plan, I guess you could say, of like thoughts or something that I want to share. And usually when I start making the video, and once we're getting spammed with Mega Knights and whatnot, normally it is pretty difficult to remember. And so I'm sure there's a lot that I wanted to share that I just completely forgot. But there's another minute. Let's try to end this off on a win. We're about even as far as damage goes now, I think. Okay, can that delivery get down in time? Not quite. The goblins are gonna get a stab off. Okay, let's just keep going like this. Tesla high as well, and then go with this to hopefully drag the Valkyrie over. We might be okay. Let's see. He's gonna arrow cycle. We might actually hold on to this. We might actually have just void cycled. Let's see. Let's go like this. Let's go like that. That is way deep. So I think we're good to throw another one of these. We can maybe even mirror it as well. And that is void cycle. So you can play it if your opponent is doing what our opponent is doing and just throwing elixir down at the bridge and kind of bridge spamming you. But it definitely is, it's very similar in play to rocket cycle, where you have to be really conservative with your elixir and then only throw voids like once you get into doubles. So it does kind of feel like you're playing rocket cycle. It's pretty much the same cost as rocket, does very similar damage to towers as well. So that is the newly changed void and kind of how it works in a void cycle deck. It's really a very similar card. You play it exactly the same way, just costs a little bit more, does a little bit more damage, does a little bit better against cards like Bowler, which I think is a really good thing, because before there wasn't really any counter to Bowler. Like if they played Bowler in the back, you could rocket it, you could lightning it, but it wasn't the best exchange for the elixir. So it makes a lot of sense to use void in some decks to take care of cards like that. Let me know what you guys think of the void rework. In my opinion, it's a good change. I think it makes more sense to use it in more decks, which is good because no one really used void before, but I think this makes it a bit better. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you have a wonderful day ahead, and hopefully I can see you guys soon.